flip. Am I just now live? Have I literally done half a live stream without actually being live? I've got to check that just a sec. Yeah, so hello, viewers. It turns out I'm a bit dumb and and I accidentally didn't go live. At least I believe I didn't go live. I'll need to check that. So I'll be back once I've checked whether I actually went live. Tell me in the live chat if I went live, or if I've just been rambling on at myself for about 11 minutes. So yeah, tell me that. But actually, let's continue. So I'll be back once I find out whether I have just been talking to myself for a while, or if I should move on because it turns out people were watching it. I don't know. So I'll be back in a very short while, pretty much 5 minutes, so don't go anywhere. Stay tuned. Okay, so it turns out I was rambling on at myself for about 11 minutes. It turns out I actually, I actually didn't click go live, and I was talking to myself for about 11 minutes, but that's totally fine. I'll just continue. So let's actually get back to, get back to the main page. So Gemini, it's a protocol, an alternative to HTTP and HTTPS, and it's it's mainly text and image based, so there's no JavaScript. It's not as bloated as the kind of regular web. So if you're sick of the web being so bloated and advertisers tracking you everywhere and getting your data sold, then maybe this is a good alternative. Or if you just really like the web back when it was in the 1990s. So let's actually get to the main page for Gemini, because that explains a lot. So let's load up the thing. There we are. So it talks about Gemini here, and it says it's a new internet protocol which is heavier than Gopher, is lighter than the web, and will not replace either. And it's saying also that it it like strives for the maximum power to weight ratio, so like the kind of best kind of the most efficient web browsing experience, and it takes user privacy very seriously. So basically it's text and image based only, but that means that you're not going to get spied on or anything like the normal internet. And also you can't really do much malicious things with this kind of protocol, because it's only text and image based, which means you can't really do anything spooky like do anything really malicious with it as much. And yeah, so why don't we look at some known Gemini hosts. So there's quite a few on here, but let's take, this is one this is one website on the Gemini protocol, and yeah, so it's very link based, and also it's got because there's not that like images are a bit discouraged on this protocol. There's a lot of ASCII art and stuff like that. So if you don't know what ASCII art is, it's like art made out of like characters that you could do on a keyboard. So as you can see here, there's a kind of, there's that Neil Armstrong in ASCII art, which is pretty cool actually. But yeah, but if you check out, there's a lot of these websites. So one of them is Gemini. So the con man Gemini. So this one so this one has a lot of tests on it. So this one's actually quite interesting. So as a simple guessing game, so let's say I hazard the guess and I guess a number, 22. And remember, this isn't being done by JavaScript. This is actually being done by server-side scripting, because you can't use JavaScript, basically meaning quite a lot of these things can't really work. Like games can't really work on this protocol very well. Oh yeah, I forgot to tell you, one way that you can tell that it's the Gemini protocol, you see this? You know how it's usually HTTP or HTTPS? Well, on Gemini sites it's just Gemini ... A bit like how you have HTTP ... But yeah, so if I guess 88, so I'm going to continue guessing because I don't think it will even let me out if I don't guess. 80 what? 84, 86. Okay. 87. Okay, yeah, so I guessed it correctly. So I'm gonna finish doing that because I guess that was probably the most boring thing that you could probably watch. So let's look at something a bit more interesting. So there's the Gemini torture test. So this is actually a bunch of links which kind of test whether Gemini is working, and you might have to actually you might have to actually correct the errors. So that would be pretty hard. It would test your skills, your web skills, because you'd have to kind of get through all the errors, complete all that. But yeah, so yeah, that's one thing on this website. Another thing on this website is there's actually a Bible on the website. So there's all the Bible stories on here. There's of course Adam and Eve, the Paul Goes to Rome, Jesus' Trial, Jesus' Crucifixion, The Last Supper. I'm just trying to name some here. But yeah, so clearly whoever made this certain website is clearly a bit, very religious. Another reason why I would think that is because, one, I believe this is a Bible quote right here. And also another thing there is quote of the day. And this is a quote from the Bible, I believe. I don't know. But yeah, so there's some other stuff on this site. But let's move on to another thing. So there's something very interesting that I found is this website. So it's called The Republic. I'm not going to try and say that because something corporate republic, I don't know how to say it, but yeah, so basically this is meant to be a place where you can kind of seek asylum and when you're fleeing from commercialization and the web of bloat and surveillance. So they offer 500 megabytes of free web hosting on Gemini. So I might actually take them up on that offer. But yeah, so that's one thing. I do not know what this is. Soviet. Welcome to the small internet. So I haven't checked out this site yet, so for all I know, anything could be on here, so I don't really know. So yeah, about this server. Yeah, so this is basically a small internet, this certain website. And it's meant to be it's meant to be a non-commercialized public access Unix server. So you can kind of have a community of people on here and stuff. So that's pretty cool. So yeah. So let's pull up another link actually. Let's go to the search engine for Gemini. The search engine is called Gemini Universal Search. There are other search engines on here. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, I've really been enjoying surfing the Gemini web. If you want a kind of, if you want to download Gemini, I would download a Gemini web browser. I would highly suggest you do, because this is a really cool experience, and maybe just, kind of play around with it, because this is actually really fun to kind of look at. So if you want a bit of an adventure on the internet after not really having an adventure for a while, this is a great way of having an adventure on the internet. So let's see if it loads the search. Oh yeah, I forgot to. Yeah, so you can type in your search query. So let's say I search up for Linux. And a lot of stuff will come up. Some of it not even in English. Some of it's in French, I can see here. Yeah. But yeah, the search engine on here isn't the best, but I wouldn't expect it to be. Let's see this. So there's a lot of sites on the... There's not a lot of sites on the Gemini web, but it's increasing, and since it's only been founded in 2019, I forgot to mention that it's a really new project. There's only a few sites, like 449, I believe, currently. But there's a lot of websites inside of websites. So like there's websites hosting other websites, as I talked about earlier. So this certain website is talking about how I came to Linux. So this certain person used to use Windows XP, and then they started using Linux, apparently. So clearly they were put off by Windows Vista or something. But anyway, So that's a bit unrelated to what we're talking about today. But anyway, why don't we look at what people are saying. You can say anything to me in chat if you want to say hi, if you want to say any video suggestions, or if you want to say anything you think about this certain Gemini web, then feel very free to do so. Yeah, I really do like getting feedback from you guys, so yeah. And I like to hear about like what you think about my channel, and also what you think about the subjects of what I'm talking about. But anyway, let's quit that segment before I lose my one viewer. So yeah, let's look at. There's already quite a lot of bookmarks that you already have with Gemini, but yeah, so Gemini's pretty interesting. So let's say I go back to the main Gemini website. Yeah, so one thing I forgot to mention, this certain web browser I'm using, actually, what also works with the Gopher protocol. So Gopher isn't the most new protocol, really. It's from the 90s, Gopher, but but Gemini, as you can see here, Gemini is actually based on Gopher, but there's some major improvements, like the actual support for images and the kind of modern colours and all that, which you couldn't display back on monochrome displays and stuff. But yeah, but so you can mainly browse Gemini sites with this web browser. There's some documentation on this in this web browser. I truly do say to you that you should check this out, this certain browser, because it's really cool. I've kind of been playing around and horsing around with it, and it's pretty kind of fun to use. It's pretty kind of good. It looks a bit old, but it's very interesting, and I find it very kind of fun to look at this stuff, because it's kind of like the kind of older internet. But anyway, I've done a few videos before on the old net, and it kind of just reminds me of that, looking at this stuff. The old net. And then okay, so let's look at the certain web browser I've been using today has a help page, and it's actually got extensive documentation, and that's one of the reasons I really suggest you use this web browser and use the Gemini protocol. It has extensive documentation for such a new project, and yeah, I've really been enjoying using this kind of protocol, looking just over all the stuff that you can do, and all the stuff that there is. So even though it's really new, like only 2 years old, it's already got quite a few websites, and it just feels much more kind of user-made and organic than the current web, which is kind of bloated, doesn't really have much it's very kind of the same. But this is very interesting to look at. And I've been looking recently for alternative internet protocols, and this is one of the ones that popped up. And so yeah. But let's go back to Project Gemini website. And then let's close bookmarks. So let's look at some known servers. Okay. But yeah, there's a lot of websites on here. I've not been to all of them, obviously, but they're pretty kind of, yeah, they're pretty cool. Kind of. Yeah, it's pretty cool that these sites exist, and I'm really enjoying using the Gopher protocol. I don't mean Gopher, I mean Gemini protocol, because Gemini's really good. But yeah, so Gemini just talk about these, like the kind of, the software you can use to the software you can use to view Gemini, and also the software that you can use for servers. But yeah, there's quite a few Gemini clients. In fact, there's one for Android. I might check that one out. So even if you're on a phone, you can even browse Gemini. I did not know that before. There's Gemini plugins, so you don't actually have to use a dedicated browser. You could use one of these plugins, but this is a much more seamless experience with Gemini, and this is built to use Gemini. In fact, if you try and go to a website which isn't Gemini or Gopher, if you go to a HTTP site or HTTPS site, like the normal internet on this browser, it will not actually connect because it's not built for that. But yeah, so this is pretty cool, I believe. So let's look at another search engine. Okay. Let's look at known Gemini servers. So one thing I want to very quickly, very quickly touch on is Gopher, because Gopher's really old, but it's been around for a long time, and there's quite a few sites for it, although it's been dying off. And I think Gemini will also make it die off a bit more. So Gemini is the future, but there's still Gopher. So let's say there's certain Gopher website I was looking at earlier with the Bible quotes and the guessing games and the torture tests. Well, it's also got a Gopher site apparently. So yeah, this stuff's on here. But what do you call it again? Oh yeah, so Gopher is not secured, whereas Gemini is secured, which is good for Gemini. But yeah, I think that Gemini is really good. I think that Gopher is also pretty good, but I don't think it's really got any future anymore. I think it's just too old and it's not very good anymore. But yeah. So I'll look at the chat to see if anybody's in the chat, anybody's talking. Oh yeah, one thing I noticed is how much, talking about the modern web, how much ads there are on YouTube and stuff like that, because yeah, it's actually really concerning how much tracking goes on. But anyway, so there's, Oh yeah, so I forgot to mention, I've got a new chair. I've also got a new bed, if you can see that. So yeah, so there's been some major improvements. I just realised I'm watching myself back. It's a bit like when I go in here and I see myself back, and then I see myself back. Because, it's kind of feeding into a loop. But anyway, that's a totally different subject. But, so I've got a new bed, I've got a new chair, I'm also going to have a new desk soon. So yeah, things are changing, and I'm really enjoying my new chair. It's very comfortable, and it's way better than having to sit on a drum stool all day. But anyway, thank you for watching today's video. It's been today's live stream. It's been pretty good to kind of talk about Gemini and Gopher. In fact, I'll be back with you in one moment. I'm actually going to put in the chat a link to the Gemini webpage, so you can find out more about Gemini and Gopher for yourself, because I really think that you should try Gemini, especially because it's a really interesting project. I really think that it has potential, a lot of potential, and to the Gemini devs, I think what you're doing is really great. But yeah, so I'll be back once I've put in the chat the link to the Gemini website and also the browser thing. So I am back. So yeah. So I've posted in the chat where you can get these web browsers, and also where you can get the web browser I'm using to actually browse Gopher, and also Gopher and Gemini. But I've also posted a link to the Gemini project's website, so you can check that out. So you can find out a bit more about the project. I think it's really cool personally, but that's my opinion. So I think we've really kind of got to the end of the stream now, haven't we? So anyway, thank you for watching today's video. I hope you enjoyed, and you can go to sandrolinux.com. In fact, I've been updating my extensions more often recently. I've actually been updating them with some more interesting things, like with my Firefox extension, which you can install. Yeah, so it's called SLE. It's on the Firefox add-on store. So if you use Firefox, that's good. But I added keyboard shortcut support for my extension. So that's Command Control S when you're in Firefox, and also a few other tweaks, fixing a few problems I had with my browser extensions. So if you've been wondering why I haven't been posting as many videos as I usually do, it's because I've actually been focusing on development recently. So yeah, but thank you for watching. Like and subscribe. There'll be more updates to my extension, my website. There's been quite a few updates to my website recently. And goodbye. Yeah, goodbye.